All right. Got a Monday stream going. I'm gonna be totally honest, I'm not in the mood for programming right now, but so what? You know what? I'm just gonna get started, get the ball rolling, and see how things go. I think that's a pretty good approach. I think we really can't go wrong with that anyway, so let's get to it. Alright, let's open this up here. Alright, let's see what we got here. Hope everyone who is tuning in live or tuning in and watching this on a VOD or on YouTube or whatever, I hope that everyone's doing okay. Hope that things are going well with your projects, with your life, and if they're not going smoothly, that you can be patient and hang in there and all that good stuff. You know, I want everyone to be doing okay as much as possible, as much as realistically possible. Okay, so let's see here. Actually, let me see. I think I messed something up with one of my branches. Unfortunately. Now I'm just trying to kind of double check what happened, because I messed something up, unfortunately. If I have a look. Right, so Alright, so here's the problem I'm trying to think through here. Because all I really want to do is a little bit of art today. I want to load some fonts and do some stuff related to that. That's the goal. Let's see if we can get it working. Right, okay. Let's get my brain working again here. Let's load this up. Let me at least do this. Get some visual interest going here while I sort my life out. Let's loop that. There, that's something kind of cool looking. Alright, enough with that. Okay, here's the deal. I had where to go? Here. This is the problem. This scale doesn't work. And I don't know why, because I was fairly sure that I had fixed it, but I guess not. I'm not sure what happened. So that's the one of the first orders of business, I guess, because this loads just fine, except it's mirrored the wrong way to what I want. So let's go fix it. So the problem I have, well, it's actually a, let me see here. If I do, let me build this out a little bit here. Let's do P regular polygon points. Let's do 56 like that. Polygon. Oops. Okay, there we go. Oh, should make it 5 so it's obvious if it's flipped or not. And do like this, but this, here's the thing, that doesn't display. So we are experiencing trouble already. And I'm not totally sure why, so. Excuse me. One, two. Oh, they all have 0 in the Y. That's strange. Excuse me. Alright, well. Okay, well, let's just recreate this sort of flow here. Let's start with this. I'd like to try there we go. Alright, so now what I need to do is utils string to vector of that. Right, and then here partition 2 of that gets me the set of points. And then I just do I just do map v. Well, it doesn't matter. I just do map vec to that. Yeah, okay, so let me change this out for a second here. Let's just rewrite this logic a little bit. So points, props. You get the points, you run utils string to vector over that point string. Then you just do map vec over the partition 2 of that. Let's double check this. Okay, so instead of points from props, all you're doing is oops, oh, I double mapped it by accident. There we go. Let's undo that. Perfect. Now, center is just the centroid of that polygon, which we can write it like this. We can do something like this, as lm. Then you just do centroid of element. Excuse me. Okay. Here is why. This scale point from center, I think I changed. So right now, excuse me, here's why it broke. I broke it because I broke it. I mean, that's not an explanation, but here's what happened. Scale point from center, I altered the arg order. So this is now wrong, so I have to do this instead. Because this calls for the point, then the scale, and then the center. So like that. And that should actually fix that issue. Let's hope, because I think that's what went wrong. I think that's what I broke. Seems to make sense. Okay, then the only thing I have to change is the scale. Scale in the path. Transform, scale. Here we are. Okay, that's this here. Like that. That should do the trick. Alright, let's save that. Now, let's head back to Cypress for a second. We'll just reload it with the appropriate changes. Okay, so let's pop back to the local as our, we'll reload our requirements there. Let's just do mx sysman quit. Excuse me. Let's pop in a new CIDR REPL. Let it load up the local copy. Hopefully now, once things load up, we get a properly working scale function. I think we'll be good, because I think that was the only change. Oh, I also, I feel like I should change this to be, actually, let me sanity check myself here. Okay, is that gonna work? I think that's valid syntax. It looks like it. I finally got new glasses again, so I'm getting used to actually seeing the screen a little bit with just that little bit more crisp outline and everything. Like, I have fine vision, actually. Like, I have a pretty weak prescription, but it is nice when programming all day to have a pair of glasses. Plus, they're like nerd style 80s programmer glasses, so I feel like it fits the part. I like them. I like them a lot. All right. Here's the idea. Let's pop the font loading. Let's load that. Load a glyph. All right, now let's do tools, CIDR show, Bentham A. It's upside down. Now let's see if I fix the scaling problem. Still not. Thought that would have fixed it, honestly. Strange. Well, let's construct a test again for a second here. Let's do p regular polygon points. Radius 50, 5 sides, like that. EL polygon. And then let's TF scale 1, 1. Oops, gonna have to do this. Okay, so that works. That works. That works. Okay, so we're almost there. Now let me do path polygon. Okay, so there's something I'd missed with the path scale. I was a little too quick on the draw. Let's see. Oh, well, naturally I didn't fix the problem everywhere. That's well, there's your problem. You didn't fix the problem. That's the problem. Ay, ay, ay. Ridiculous. Okay. Let's see. Well, so I know this is the right snippet. So let's copy that. Replace that. have an inconsistency to fix here. That's that. I think we're good if we do that. All right, let's restart the session here. Let it load. Hopefully I didn't break the library. Should be good. I don't know why this is taking so long. That's weird. But okay. We'll see. Okay, good. Oops. Now let's just load the file. Things are just slower than they need to be today. I don't know why. I'm quite sure it's not because it's playing a WebM video file. Like, that shouldn't really slow things down all that much. Like, this is pre-rendered, it's not calculating it live, so I just don't feel like that's the real problem. Alright, that is... Yes, okay, there we go. I think we fixed it. Let's make sure this is saved here. Let's go git commit fixed scale transforms to use fixed scale transforms using old args order for utils scale wait from oh, oops, I did that in the wrong order. Git add git okay. Not very talkative today, sorry about that. Just kind of feeling, well, I kind of lack the words today. I don't know why, it's just how it is, you know? Some days it'd be like that. Alright, let's load up this Bentham A with the proper mirror flip there. And let's see if we can get it working the way we want. Let's hope. I think we'll be good. Alright, I'm being weird. Okay. Tools, Cider Show, Bentham A. Hey, there we go. That's That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want. All right, that's good. All right, so why do I want that? Well, well, let's see how. That's not really okay. Let's do all right. Ooh, I'm gonna tangent myself for a minute here. Okay. Map EL circle. No, sorry, let me zip this out of here. Don't need that after all. Let's do instead one of these situations here. Bentham A outer points. Thread that through. Thread that through. Map EL circle. EL circle like that. No, sorry, have to do EL circle radius 2. It's good enough. TF translate to some position. No. Oh yeah, no, that's right. Map that. Oop, that was a mistake of mine to do that. I meant to tools, cider, show, like that. There we go. Okay. So, please, there we go. I don't remember what I was attempting to do with this, but I don't think it matters really. Okay, so the thing I'm actually gonna try to do here, simplify poly. Let's just tentatively call it simplify. Takes a set of points. All right, so what it's gonna do, well, let's do let n be int of divide count of points by 2. So we simplify, what we're going to do is simplify the total shape of any given polygon by dividing its number of points in half. Is that truly a good idea? I don't know. This is just a first rough pass at a little idea I had. So what I want to do is create we're gonna do this. We're gonna let the curve function be p/poly polygon built from points. Then the new points are just going to be map v c over, oh sorry, we're going to do it like this, map v c the number divided by inc n of range to n. Okay, so now instead of this, I'm curious to see if I run simplify through here. Whoa, okay, that worked like pretty well, I gotta say. So if I simplify it twice, oops, it should work, and it's just reducing the total number of points again, and they're evenly distributed, which is pretty good. So the problem, well, the risk of simplifying is you smooth over sharp corners that you want it to keep, right? So that's maybe something I need to consider yet, but this is pretty cool. So that's actually, I think, quite useful as a mechanism for kind of quickly bringing the number of points into what I want. So I actually, I wonder if I should just make the n explicit like that. That way, instead of just doubling down on it like that. Well, let's first of all count. Let's simplify. Okay, so that would be 330. Let's simplify it to 250. And that should work just fine, right? Oh. Right, I have to do this. No, that's wrong. I have to do this. There we go. Man, okay. I'm pleased with myself about that. That is pretty great. That's pretty cool. Okay, well, I'm gonna keep going with an idea I had, but I'm gonna go to the bathroom for a minute. I'll be right back. Okay. Let me first what? I don't understand what's happening. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Oh, I deleted the file. Well, let's just get away from this then. Oh, I should check actually what happens when I do simplify with the same number of points that it... Oh, it just evenly distributes it, which is fantastic. In fact, if I bump the number up, I mean, it's not adding any fidelity to it anymore, but it does... I mean, there isn't actually going to be a point to doing that, is there? Let's do, let's make it even. Yeah. I kind of like that. Okay, now, there should be... Oh, do I have an inflection? Okay, don't. Inflection. Find inflection points and inflections. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do points. So here, the logic that I have to follow is let's think about this for a second. Let's let points be... We need to partition everything into 3, but we need the whole thing to wrap around. Actually, do we? Well, let's not do that first of all. Let's let... Tries isn't right. A's for angles. Partition 3, step 1 of points, like that. Yeah, then basically all I need to do is we're gonna do this. Thread last, the A's. I don't like this. What? Corners. That's what they are. It's a corner, right? So I care about the middle point and the two legs after it, and I'm measuring the angle between the legs. So they're corners. That works just fine. So I'm getting the corners, and I'm mapping map apply utils / angle from points. Okay, that gives me an angle. Wait a second, that's not quite right. I want to sort by. Okay. So if I sort the corners by that, then I get the corners no longer in an order, but they're all still there. Then I actually want to remove. The idea is I want to remove any corners that... Sorry, let's do it filter. I want to keep corners that match. Sorry, wait a second. That I don't need to do either. Let's literally, here, I can just do it in one step. Corners. Filter. Okay, so I'm gonna get the angle. If the angle between the two is greater than 180, that means it's an inflection. I think that's right. Let's see if that's right. Let's see what happens. Yeesh. Alright, so we've got this little test going here. We simplify the thing to have like a nice even distribution of points with simplify. And then we run inflections. And we should see, ooh, what did I do wrong? Why does that not work? Let's see. I've once again confused myself. Oh, yes, of course. Here's why. I would actually like to bring this back to this form. Corners. Okay. Then I want to get second. There we go. That should get me the inflections. Doesn't look right at all. Weird. Okay, well, less than 180, I suppose. That's not gonna fix it. That's right. There we go. Except this one we don't fill red, we just leave it there. Alright, let's see if this does anything. I mean, that is an inflection point, but it's not. Like, this is an inflection point here. Huh. Why isn't this working? And do I care right now? I mean, arguably I do, but I kind of don't. This Bentham A points would be better with concat. Let's fix this up a bit anyway. Okay. Oh, I didn't def it. My bad. That's weird. Why did that happen? Come on, man. Making rookie mistakes here. That's just my bad. There we go. Alright, now let's try this. Oh, crisscross there. I actually don't want to do a simplify in this case. I kind of want to just briefly, like that. Well, that just doesn't make sense at all. Okay, I'm gonna move on from this particular issue to something that's maybe more fun. Hmm. I'm just thinking about how I want this to go. So what I have here is well, let's do a little. Okay, let's make this. Let's kind of turn this logic into a pipeline, into a single function that will return. Basically, I want to do. Defin load glyph. Let's do it like this instead. Glyph points. And here I need to pass in glyphs and I guess it's a like glyph list, glist, and then the glyph. Because I only want to load the list once, so I want this to be loaded, and then I want this result to come out of the whole thing. So what I'll do is Okay. Deafen, load glyphs. There, that should be okay. Deafen. Get glyph path. There we go. That's what I want. And then I want the glyph string. Yeah. Right, so then, oh, you have to do, like this. So you thread glist through filter. All you grab is the first thing, glyph string. Get first. Okay, then well, first of all, let me check that this works on its own. Okay, so the result here so far there's nothing special about that at all. But here, what I want to do is def. Okay. Yeah, so I want to do this. I want to get glyph points D. Okay. From the G list that comes from load SVG font, where I load that font. But I should wrap this in a tools cider show. Doesn't quite work. Okay. Ooh. Be right back. Although, let me... I'll be right back. There we go. Ooh. Man, that's too bad that some of those things don't work. I wonder if the scale op is loading or messing that stuff up. Nope, it's not that. Okay, that's good at least. That's not right. Looks kind of cool, but it's wrong. No, I don't like that. What's the deal? What's the deal? Whoa, well that's just way off. Also, I'm gonna do this just for now. Even L? Really? It's too bad. None of these are working. Oh right, because it's still a glyph. Right. What I actually have to do is temporarily into path. Oops. Like that. Oh, it's the wrong way. Has to be like that. Oh, right, no, it's gotta be like this. Maybe? Okay, there we go. This is just wrong. I'm just doing it wrong. Eesh. My goodness. Oh, no. Here. Jeez. Okay, let's just do this. Okay. There we go. I mean, my goodness. Okay. Okay, so that's displaying right. So it's here. Stuff's going wrong in my conversion process, unfortunately. I mean, that's not surprising. It's just now I have to figure out how to fix it. Okay, so let's have a peek at what this actually is before I try to fix it. Oops. Okay. Excuse me. So it would appear that the problem arises with conversion from rel to absolute. That's gotta be it, right? So let's see. It is weird that the letter A worked fine, but everything else didn't. Frustrating. Oh, hey, progressive. I don't know how to say your full name there. Sorry about that. I noticed a follow just now, just this minute, it says on my end here. Thanks for that. Appreciate that. Hope you're doing well. Feel free to talk in the chat if you want. You don't have to if you don't want to, of course. No obligation at all. Sorry, just checking important mail here. Come on. Alright, enough of that. Okay, so the problem I'm facing now is related to incorrect transformation from relative to absolute coordinates in SVG path strings. I was hoping I didn't have to deal with that today, or I mean, I assumed it had been working, but there's some more cases where it's not, so that just means I have to get to work, and that's fine. It's fine. I'm not even mad. Alright, let's see here. Let's go SVGC. See, the thing is, there's a few conversions going on, and I actually don't quite know yet which ones are. Oof, this is gonna be a trick. This is gonna be a trick. So it's this function here that takes, well, first of all, this kind of path string is converted into a sequence of commands, which are, it's just a Clojure map with the command, relative or absolute, and then its inputs. Then it's this that takes that command sequence and then runs its checks and converts it. So it's somewhere in here. Actually, sorry, this is more an interface to it. It's actually command to path string given a set of commands. Yeah, that makes sense. Which is this function here, of course. Wait, am I even thinking about this correctly? What's glow? Is that? I don't know what that is. Anyway, that's a tangent. Tools / cider show glyph. Yeah, glyph points. There we go. See what? Oh, sorry. No, they'll all work right now for a minute because I did this. Yeah. This will break it. It's annoying. Whoa. Oh, that's right. There's this decurve thing that kind of ruins that. Okay, so here I wonder if this is the first. Where do things start to go wrong? That's kind of the question I should figure out, I think. Okay, let's look here. Let's comment this out too. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so okay, so there's two thoughts immediately. The first is maybe there's something wrong with things like, so converting a T call back to a Q requires a rotation of a point, and I wonder if that's calculating incorrectly. The other thing is I wonder if relative V and H conversions start to mess things up. So one minor sanity check. The glyph A works, so it looks like the T is probably not the issue. At a quick glance, well, wait a minute. Let's be smart about this here. Let's do string slash includes string substring M true, Z true, T Q V H, no H. It does include a V, so that doesn't seem to be the issue. That's a bummer. Where's the V? Let me see. There's one V here. Maybe there is something wrong even with the A and I just can't see it. I have a slight hunch that the problem is with VH to L. I kind of feel like that's where things start to go wrong. So, let's see. So the new command is easy enough. It's going to be an L, always absolute, and then it's going to have X input. That's fine. What I want to be sure of, where does input come from here? Command input, yeah. If it's horizontal, that does mean indeed that that seems right. Wait a second, what's this here? No, never mind. It looks really good. See, that's the thing that's annoying. I don't understand why this is so wrong. comparatively. Although, looking at this, this looks actually like just a... translation issue. Let me see if this... Okay, so actually, sorry, now I have to check it without scaling at all. Oh, whoa, hello? Okay. Okay, so there's at least one. Okay, that's a step in the right direction. Something wrong. Oh, wait a second. That doesn't definitively prove anything. Never mind. That's not helpful. Hmm. Just thinking, just thinking. Okay, I need to give myself a break soon, but I want to try and figure this out. That's the truth. I think the V and H is suspect here, and I don't quite know why. I think it's inverting things. I just had an idea. Is it Okay, let's look at VH to L. Okay, PX and then input. Wait a minute, is that... It shouldn't make a difference. No, that's not it. This isn't it. It should not make a difference. But, I mean, let's see what happens. It won't make a difference. That's not the solution. That's definitely not it. Excuse me. Okay. Oops. Hey, hey, TJ. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Hey everyone. Welcome, welcome. How is everybody doing? First time chats, welcome everyone who's just new here. TJ, thank you so much. Oh my goodness. I was, you may have noticed, I'm not sure. I was really winding things down today. I was a little, getting a little stuck in my own head here. Now there's a raid coming in. Gotta pump things up again. Hey, how's everybody doing? I hope you're all doing well. What kind of sorcery is this? What sorcery are you... Bleh. What sorcery are you referring to? Thank you for the follow, Lala. I appreciate that very much. I guess if anyone's interested in what I'm trying to work on here, so I use Clojure. I make SVG stuff. This is an animation example. Seen Lua-like languages to generate models, but not to animate them. Hey Alexis, thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. Oh, Lisp-like languages. Yeah, so maybe this kills the magic a little bit, but this is not real-time animation that I'm showing you here. Are you working with Clojure full-time? So I'm in between jobs at the moment. I'm working on my own open source stuff to do 3D CAD modeling with Clojure, trying to start my own little, by little I mean little, business. I've been slowly applying to jobs as well, and the intent is to work full-time in Clojure. So the answer is not currently, but kind of, and the intent is yes, to be working full-time. File size of this vid is, ooh, let's see. Oh boy, well that's a mess. 1 second here. I think it's... So this is a WebM. The WebM version is 1.3 megabytes. The MP4 is 2.6 megabytes. It's 15 seconds long and it loops indefinitely. Hopefully that elucidates a thing or two. Let me try to give a little bit of context here. Okay, so I'm slowly working on a few sort of generative art projects with Clojure, using SVG and whatever I can come up with. The first thing I did was this polygen sort of thing. The idea is, and little asterisk, I have to make these little web pages way better. The presentation of them is weak. They don't necessarily, they're just not as usable as I want them to be. But the point is to generate these sort of art pieces that you could potentially download and use on a plotter or whatever if you want to. So the two that I put up so far, hey Christoph, thanks for the follow, I appreciate that. Oh, if I've missed anyone following or anything like that, and I haven't said thank you, that's just because I missed it, not because I don't want to say thanks. I appreciate everyone, and I hope everyone's having a good time. These look really nice. Thank you. So this is another little thing. It looks like an amoeba, sort of. I think this doesn't look from an art perspective quite as nice, but the functions behind this, I used to make this animation. I also have a static version of it. Let's see if I can find. I'm sorry. So this code base is it's messy because it's just I'm hacking my way to figuring things out and cleaning things up as I get through and understand things a little better. But there's let's see here, a bunch of different things. So this here, for example, this 3 pillars function will generate 3 static images. Let's do yeah, tools, cider, show 3 pillars. So the idea is with this SVG CLJ, this open source library that I'm working on, the idea is for the month to be creative with the generative code process, and I don't know, I just kind of see where that takes me, I guess. This animated thing, I think I started talking about this and got distracted. The magic behind this animation, so it's not a real-time animation. Hey Forrest, thanks for the follow, I appreciate that very much. Okay, how I generated this is with nice specs. Oh, you like you mean my glasses? I actually just got these. They're like so I had a pair. I don't have like a strong prescription, so I can see fine, more or less fine without them. It's just nice to be on the computer with them. They're sick. Love that style. Yeah, my other pair was a simpler pair. I kind of took a little risk. I wasn't sure if other people would love them, but I really like them. They're like that 80s nerd style. I mean that in a good way. My last pair, I jumped into a river and then they just were gone. I mean, it was a silly thing to do. I didn't do it on purpose. Anyway, I just got these and I feel great. So I feel great about them. Nice big frames. Looking good. Okay, so this animation here, what I did was create a function here, the blend pillar animation function, and what it does is return it. So it generates a sort of how do I describe it, a starting position and an ending position for the stack of polygons here, right? Then you give that function to ffmpeg, and you give it, you specify a frame rate and a duration. So here I had a frame rate of 48 and a duration of 15. Multiply those together, that's 720 frames. So what I do is run that function with a parameter t from 0 to 1 720 times to generate, like, it literally calculates the position of everything for each frame, and then you use ffmpeg to stitch the frames together. So very much not a real-time thing, but I think it looks pretty good. And so what I've been trying to do today was take the idea behind this. You can use ffmpeg from Clojure. Nice. Is it FFI? No, it's just a shell call. So Clojure has, and I'm sure this isn't unique to Clojure. I'm sure most languages have it. There is, oh, sorry, let me go to this animate namespace here. Clojure.java.shell has this function sh, and if I were to do it, so I run the function sh with ls. Oop, Sorry. Oh yeah. It's just a shell call. Subproc. Yeah. Shell. Let me just. Yeah, there you go. So I actually didn't even bother to look. I suspect that you could find an FFI approach to running FFmpeg. I haven't, because this wasn't meant to be a production thing. It's a works on my machine type of thing, which as the project evolves, I want to see what parts make sense to share. You know, if it makes sense to make it more user friendly, then I might, but I haven't worried about those things yet. But back to what I was attempting to do today. What is this namespace mode? Namespace mode. Sorry, I'm not quite sure what you're referring to, Easy there. So I can explain how I've got my Emacs set up, if that would be helpful. I use org mode, the Emacs bullet list. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this here, it's just Emacs org mode. Not sure if you're familiar with org mode or how familiar you are with Emacs. So let's see. The very basic idea, it's like Vim folds, it seems. Yeah, so I've got it. I think that's the default. One bullet is an H1, 2 is an H2, basically, kind of thing. And you can fold, unfold different things. So you can sub, like you can always. So I could add another something under there, and you can fold any block basically. And I just use it. I like it for how my brain thinks about code. I like it all accessible. I don't want to see it all the time, but I want it to be always right there. And I find this to be kind of a nice way to do things. Now, this approach does have its weaknesses, but then again, I have my weaknesses as a developer, so I haven't worried about those things yet. I've been slowly thinking about ways to improve it, but one thing I love is you can you could do something like this. Imagine I realized that I had a bunch of code like this isometric thing here. Let's imagine that for the flow of the code, it made way more sense to have it either in its own namespace or just way further down in the code. I can just pop it low. Oops. I could just bring it down, bring it up. I can move it around so quickly. I can lower it, raise it, you know, anything like that. So I quite like that. And then what it does tangle, it's called. So every time I save a change to the org file, it saves the snippet of code in sequence into whatever file I specify. So I can generate the entire proper code, the proper source structure from this file. I happen to really like that. And the nice thing is, if I end up working on a team and no one else likes it, I just don't have to do this, you know? So it's not like the org mode is precious. It's just, for me, the source of it's the source for the source, and it helps me think as I'm developing. Org mode style Jupyter Notebook. Yeah, a little bit. One thing it's such a simple tool, but I'm really proud of this idea that I came up with. Clojure's REPL, I mean, there's a bunch of ways to launch a REPL with Clojure, but in Emacs, the most common, as far as I know, one to use is an Emacs plugin called Cider, CIDER, and that's right here. And Cider can show images in the buffer directly. If you use Clojure Java IO to load a file, and it knows that the file is like a PNG or whatever, it will display it. And since I'm using SVG in my visuals a lot, I just wrote a little tool that will render. Whoops, I'm in the wrong namespace. Sorry. That'll render any of my SVG directly in there, and so it's not quite Jupyter, but it gives me this sort of visual interactivity, like easy visual interactivity. It's one way. It's just like you post it in there and it shows you. So like it's not like I can interact with this. So it's static, but still, even this alone, it's like an idea I had, and I made the function in a minute, and I've used it. I use it so much. It's really awesome. Yeah, so it reminds me of that Jupyter Notebook sort of thing directly in org mode. It's pretty cool. There are things that I wish would be, like, I would love if it were like some kind of React element or something that you could like put UI into it as well, and you could say show form or whatever, and it would show the object, and it would give you little knobs to push and pull, and you could kind of, it would be like a regular REPL with visual interface kind of all built in, but that's ideas for another day. Point is, I'm really quite happy with the org mode workflow that I've got. Yeah. Let's see. Where was I? Oh yeah, so the stuff I was attempting to do today was fix up my, it's a little boring, and I was hoping I didn't have to. But I've got this, I'm trying to load fonts and convert the font, or not convert, I'm trying to load the fonts from an SVG font file, get the glyphs, and then get the point data of the path. The problem is, or one problem is, well, I mean, it's upside down, but I can fix that. The real problem is when I try to do my transforms on it, there's some conversion step that's going wrong, and it's related, I think it's related to switching to well, how do I explain this quickly? Here, there's this function here. It converts a certain type of command, a vertical or a horizontal draw command, into a line command, and there's relative and absolute coordinate situations, and I haven't figured out what I did wrong in that conversion process. So that's basically the long and short of it. But the purpose of that was to try and make a sort of artsy looking thing using font, like using letters as well, and kind of morph between different letters, if you can imagine that. But since I'm not going to have time to figure that out exactly today, and it's boring, maybe I could, before I leave, I could just kind of craft a few ideas here and there with different kinds of approaches to things. So let me go back up into here. Let's look at this blend function, this big messy function, and have a look at, okay, so here, this blend pillar, oh, I think even this will work. Hey, oh, I didn't ask this yet. Is there anyone currently tuned in who is themselves a Clojure dev? Looking forward to your upcoming streams. Do you find working with font data boring? I find it frustrating. Just because I'm not a font expert, I don't actually know what I'm doing. So I kind of, I'll be honest, I cheated a little bit. I'm not sure for... let me see, how do I say this? I feel the struggle. So it's actually kind of a complicated question. I don't know. So I have this open source SVG CLJ library, right? And I want to support and give functions to users for a lot of the, call them primitives, that SVG provides. So we're talking circle, rectangle, polyline, polygon, etc., etc. The problem is text is one of those things. And I want the text element to be translatable, scalable, and rotatable as well. But in order to do them properly, I need to be able to compute things like the bounding box. But the problem there is I cannot pre-compute the bounding box of a text element because I don't know the font. So I have no way of, I currently I don't have a solution for the text element. Digital text rendering is pretty hard, but probably fun. Yeah, so I've been thinking about how to approach it. My approach so far has been TBD. But the reason I'm loading glyphs right now is I'm exploring it in an artistic environment where I don't I'm not making any promises to the library. This is its own hackable sort of thing, right? That's one nice thing about using my existing library to make some like non-critical but still complex shapes is I can figure out, wait a minute, this looks like a good feature, this looks cool. And I've actually ended up discovering a few ways to do cool things. Like I figured out how to make a fillet function, and I've implemented the convex hull algorithm, and now I can do triangulation, and I can do isometric transforms. So there's like all kinds of useful points that came out of this stuff, or functions that came out of this. And so maybe proper font handling ends up being one of those. But right now what I've done is I downloaded an OTF font, ran it through FontForge, and saved it as an SVG file. And then I have an SVG loading tool, and I can just load and filter glyphs, and then I can take the path data in the glyph and then run that through my regular stuff. So it's a bit of a cheat, but for artistic purposes, it's been serving me just fine. And it might lead to better implementation into the main library. Does that make any sense? Anyway, it's a great idea. Thanks, Forrest. I appreciate that. All right, everyone, feel free to talk amongst yourselves. I gotta go to the washroom. I'll be back in just a moment. Like your approach? Thank you. Like I said, I'll be back. Give me like 2 minutes. All right. All right, I'm back. Not sure if I asked this. Are there people in the chat that are themselves Clojure devs? Just curious. It's always, I think Clojure is not that big of a language in the grand scheme of things. but it's always cool to see and hear other people using it. I mean, if you're not, that's totally fine too. Nothing wrong with any of that, but it's fun to hear what people are working on. And if not Clojure dev, what kind of stuff do you all do? Closest I've been is Racket in university. Oh yeah. I've not used Racket at all. Well, I mean that's basically true. I installed Dr. Racket on a computer a couple years ago, and that was before I knew anything about anything really. And I got a little confused. I actually probably should poke my nose into that again, actually. Let's put this back on the screen because I like that. Did you enjoy Racket at the time? Apologies for that. Okay. Right, so let's make another pillar function. And this one let's make a more useful function. See this here? This generates a random pillar. But it doesn't, there's no control. It's hard-coded values in the let statement here. So I can't really do anything with it. I mean, it generates nice images, which I'm happy with. Like, I really like this. I think it looks so cool. But, like, there's so much more potential to this method, right? So, let's start with a simple one. Let's do defen blend. Let's see. Racket, the Racket course you took, it was a fun course, got you into functional programming. Oh, nice. Well, then I feel like it served its purpose well. So I am honestly a little bit jealous of people who studied or did like computer science or programming or whatever in university. Every day I'm more and more confident in my skills as a developer, but I am self-taught, so I do often wonder what my blind spots are, you know? And I get a little bit, like, I always wonder, like, oh man, I wonder if I would be much, much better having gone and done a university course, but there's not really much point worrying about the past, right? I have to focus on on what I can do now, what I can learn, and just go from there. Because, I mean, it's evident that at least I've learned enough to be able to produce code that does cool stuff, which is pretty good, I think. You know what? I'm not going to complain about that. Not going to complain about it at all. Seems like you're doing great. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it a lot. And I feel like most days, I want to be clear, I'm not saying, oh, woe is me, I'm terrible. I don't think that at all. I do occasionally think, dang, man, it would have been nice to go to university for it. But again, whatever. It's all good. I studied mechanical engineering, which has its own... there's something really nice about being a dev or learning to become a dev with a different kind of background as well. You kind of get you get sort of knowledge and insights from two different areas, and then you can kind of leverage the overlaps to think just a little bit differently about things, and it can be fun. Again, not saying I'm any kind of special person or anything. I'm just yammering now, to be honest. I don't know what to call this function, so I'm gonna call it ASDF. I do this all the time. If I have no idea or it's something I know I need to change, I call it like ASDF or WASD. And then inevitably, I do that a few times in a working code base, and then I reload it, and it's like, excuse me, you already used ASDF. Stop it, please. I was forced to use Java and mindless OOP at university, so it wasn't all roses. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's the other thing I realized. Well, wait a minute. I liked university, but I didn't like everything about university. There was a lot of stuff that wasn't fun at all. A lot of things that felt like a waste of time. A lot of things that made me feel silly. So yeah, it's not. You're right. That's totally fair. And yeah, I kind of feel like courses sometimes they kind of feel like they're designed to hit that happy middle, not to be amazing, not to be horrible, just to be like bleh. So yeah, maybe it's not perfect. Don't want to idealize, right? Truth is, I'm happy with the things I did learn. I'm happy with the skills I have that I'm confident that I can learn what I need to do the things I want. I just have to remind myself that sometimes. And I think pretty much everyone has those kinds of skills. It just depends a lot on circumstances, like availability and time of time and stuff like that. So anyway, start function, end function. Let's go with that. All right, so if I look at the logic of this, I have to remind myself how this works. Let's do let shape function be multi-blend. Oh, wait a second. Let's just do it like this. Instead of only being 2, let's just do shape functions as a list, or vector, or whatever, doesn't matter, as a sequence. Hey, Ghost Games UK, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that very much. I hope you're doing well. Sometimes, I don't know, maybe the people who follow like can't hear me right when I say thanks, so maybe I say it too quickly, I'm not sure, but thank you. Feel free to say hi in the chat if you want. Welcome, all that good stuff. Where was I? Oh yeah, so let's do this. Shape functions, and then I guess I should put like an N for the number of slices, and then the Z separation. What do I want to parameterize here? Let's just do it like this. ZN. We can. Hello, good sir. Hey, glad to see you here. Ghost Games UK. Ghost Games sounds like is that like a game dev studio name? Do you do game development? And UK, I assume is United Kingdom, but I don't know. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I hope you're doing well. Did I say that already? It's true, even if I said it before. Multi-blend shape functions. And I do want to... You do develop games nowhere near a studio. Is it a studio of one? Indie solo dev. Oh man, that is the dream. Well, it's a dream, and I hope it is nice. I hope that's going well for you. I hope you're enjoying it. I love the idea of working for myself, by myself, on my own stuff, you know? Do you do, what kind of games do you like to make? I mean, answer if you want, don't answer if you don't. There's no pressure. You know, it's all good. Okay, so we're going to blend the shape functions that get passed into the function, and we are going to default ease in out sign, and maybe I'll parameterize that later, or let the user pass it in with the function here, but let's call this blend stack. There. Okay. Shape functions, Z and N. Those are the things I need. Then I mean, this function is basically already written. Super easy. There's only one thing that I realize is probably an issue, and that is I don't necessarily want to hard code the style of the layers into the function, because it could be more useful to generate the stack and then style it at a later point. But for the sake of making sure this will work, I'm going to just go with it anyway. So let's... okay, that should work. Okay, that's good. Are you doing function composition right now? Oh, sorry. I'll answer that in a second, Forrest. From Unity to GameMaker Studio 2D bits, the first solo project is my current passion. Okay, gotcha. Are you doing like a side scroller? Are you doing like a roguelike? Are you doing those are the two genres that come to mind right away. Are you doing Tetris? Obviously not Tetris, but I've been playing Tetris Effect on my Switch lately, so I've just got... What's like that problem where, like, if you close your eyes, you just see Tetris blocks falling everywhere? You call it the adult Stardew Valley. Ooh, spicy. Sounds great. Forrest, are you doing functional composition right now? I suppose, yeah. So this multi-blend here is a certain... It's not, strictly speaking, function composition. Although it does return a function that is the blend between two other functions. So I suppose that is... I suppose it is. Let's see. Let me show you the blend here. So blend and multi-blend here. You know what? The answer is yes. I am doing function composition. I don't know why I'm complicating things here. Okay. So you give it a list of functions, and these functions, they have to have a certain form, okay? And that form is a parametric curve form. So what that means is something like this. I'll do p/line. Let me show you this. I'm gonna def a to b p/line, and p is just the alias for my parametric namespace. And what it does, this line function takes a starting point and an ending point, okay? And it returns, if I just print a into the REPL, it's actually a function. So p/line is a function that returns a function. Now this function, a, if I run it with no arguments, it gives me a map, and it just gives me some input data. So it's, the function was svg_clj parametric line. The input I gave it was this. And the length is a geometric calculation of the length. So if you were to manually calculate the length from 0, 0 to 20, 30, you would get this result. Now, if I pass it 0, it gives me a position. It gives me a point in 2D space. And if I give it a is 1, it gives me the end of that line. And so if I get 0.5, I get the exact midpoint of that line. Okay, there we go. So what this does is give me a function that I can map a. Let's map that function over the range from 0 to 1, taking a step size of 0.1. So I'm going to get 10 points. So effectively what I've done here is I have a function that will return a function that has hard-coded into that function the position data for a type of geometry. And then I can use that function and ask it for points along its curve, which is, I think, a really cool thing, first of all. I also have p_circle. I also have Bezier curve and a parametric polygon and polyline. All of them take a parameter t that goes from 0 to 1. So let's do 50 as the circle radius, right? So if I redefined A to be a circle. If I do A0 and I do A1, they're both 50. Now, okay, so fair warning, I haven't perfectly handled floating point stuff because that hasn't so far been an issue. Where it has been a problem, I have handled it a little bit, but it's on the list for adding robustness to the library. But tangent. If I do A 0.5, that gives me the point on the other side of the circle. So A goes like this, right? Basically what I can do is something like this. If I thread A through, sorry, let's thread it like, yeah. Map EL circle. Yeah. Wait. Did I do that right? Not quite. What am I doing? I messed this up a little bit. Let's start this over for a second. Why am I explaining all this? Point is, whatever, I'll move on. That functions that return functions that are parametric curves lets me do blends between different curve functions. Do you get monads in Clojure? I mean, you could make them if you wanted to, I think. That's not really... Hey, Felipe Borton. Sorry if I got your name wrong there, but hopefully I got that okay. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. Monads in Clojure. It's not really a common way to do it, but I'm sure there are some people who have implemented it. Yeah, so it's like the answer with most Lisps is you can. You might have to make it yourself, but you can. I don't use monads. There are libraries for category theory, but they are rarely used in production. Right, it's not a built-in. That is correct. It's not built-in. Nicholas, I did not know that specifically. Thanks for the answer, of course. I appreciate that. So, Forrest, do you use monads? If I hear the word monads, my brain goes to Haskell right away. Do you use Haskell, or do you use monads in other languages? Oh, Neanderthal got blocked. One unexpected use of monad is in the Neanderthal library. How do they use monads in that? Oh. Man, okay, so this is a library that I have to pay attention to. I want to... so fast Clojure matrix library, that is something I really want to explore to see if I can speed up some of the stuff I've been working on. They've got a Patreon. That's cool too. Oh man, nice, good stuff. Feel like I'm using them monads in Rust, but my understanding of them is not stellar. I've toyed with Haskell. Love the type system. Guy behind this is ultra talented. Yeah, so you know what? Shame on me. I haven't actually looked too much into all this stuff, but I have in fact seen their name around quite a bit, and I have no doubt you're totally right. I'm sure, and they've got deep learning for programmers books and everything. Like it, really cool. I admire it a lot. Yeah, The guy behind this, I don't know how to pronounce his name properly. Dragon. Oh man, sorry if I'm getting that wrong. Anyway, yeah, super talented. I didn't know that Rust had monads in it. Or maybe, no, I didn't know that. His libraries are super high performance and you wouldn't expect it. Man, that's always such a treat when you don't expect a library to be, I mean, you never expect or hope that a library is bad, right, in terms of performance, but it's always really nice when it's like really awesome. That's great. I almost certainly have a thing or two to learn from their source code. Many things to learn. Okay, I should probably get a visual on screen here. I sidetracked myself talking about these parametric curves. Sorry about that, everyone. Once it clicked in my head how you could use functions that return functions, how I could use that to make geometric, like I could basically use it to do math, to return functions for geometry. Man, I think it's so cool. I love it. Like, you technically have a perfect circle. The only thing is you have to ask it for specific coordinates, right? So your rendering approach will approximate it, but the function is the circle. And I just think that's so cool. I love that. And then you can just extend that to do all kinds of neat things. So using blend stack, let's see if I can make a fun looking shape. Okay, let's try that. Let's def ASDF. Let's go with it. Why not, right? Okay, so let's let A be P circle 20. Let's let B be P circle 50. And then let's let C P circle 20 again. Why not, right? Okay, now let's do blend stack. And we're going to do the shape functions A, B, and C. The Z height in total, I'm just going to guess is 100. And let's let the number of layers be, we'll start low, 20, so that it doesn't take forever to render. But let's see what this looks like. Hopefully it works. Okay. I mean, it's lame looking. Oh, I also, Z is the wrong, this should be like 3. Not, because Z is not the total height, it's the height between each layer. So that I thought about it incorrectly. Okay, so there we go. That is pretty much exactly how I rendered out this. But this, I had each frame rendered one at a time and then stitched together again. So this looks pretty cool. This reminds me of one of those paper lanterns that you can get at IKEA that are just like a sphere. That looks pretty cool. But let's expand our idea of cool. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Okay, so neat, but let me think about what I can do instead here. Let's make B not a circle. Let's use a little threading magic here and do P regular polygon points. We'll do a radius of 50 with 4 edges, so that ends up being a square. Let's P rotate that 45 degrees. And now let's fillet that with a radius of 12. I'm just guessing at these numbers, by the way. The nice thing about generative art is you can kind of just guess at numbers and see if it looks good. I love it. You don't have to know what you're doing. I mean, you do, but you don't at the same time. Is that going to work? Maybe. It might work. Nope. Oh, yeah. Fillet points. Right. Okay, so here is where I've gone a little bit wrong. Okay, so I've generated the points, filleted them. Excuse me, let's use the right syntax here. Okay. Now, so what I have here, I've created a list of points with this regular polygon points function. If I run this in the REPL, it's going to list out 4 points. It's very simple. Now, if I do this in the REPL, it will give me many more points because the fillet is approximated with a circle and then it's faceted. So there's quite a few points, but if I run that through el/polygon, and then I do tools cider show that, it looks nice. It's a square with the nice filleted edges, filleted corners. I like that a lot. So now all I need to do is, this is just a list of points, but the requirement for the blend stack, because it uses the multi-blend function, it needs to be in that parametric function form, and a list of points is not in that form. So I need to run this through p/polygon, which creates a function from 0 to 1 that will give you a point anywhere along that polygon that's implied by those points. So it's turned the point list into a function. And then I can do p rotate 45. And the cool thing about this, p rotate, I can actually show you that implementation. It's extremely small because it's just a function wrapping a function. I think it's cool and how simple it is. Here, for example, right? So this here is the function. So you basically, given a function that you already know is going to have a single parameter and a degree to rotate it, you run that function, you just pass t into the original function, which you know will return a point, and a closure in a closure. Yeah, exactly. And so you know, because of the requirement of the parametric curves, that if you run f of t, you're going to get a single point, and then all you have to do is rotate that point around the center here. And center is, oh, okay, so this is where I have to, like, I put this in my notes somewhere. It is not totally perfect. What I've done is I approximate the, like, I run 200 points through that function. So it is slow in terms of implementation. This is an area where I know I need to come up with optimization approaches. But the point is, it's still rather simple. It still just wraps the function in a call around rotating around something. To make this even faster, I could say the requirement is it always rotates about 0, 0, and then I never have to calculate this. But I don't know that I like that as a design principle. Anyway, that's tangential. Point is, I can use it now, p rotate here, to rotate that function without explicitly turning it into a point list again. All right, blah, blah, blah. I should be able to run this now. Oops, I spoke too soon. Once again, using the wrong syntax. So I keep, one thing that keeps breaking and I keep not fixing it. I had paredit working in org mode, but it interferes. And anytime I write a curly brace, it turns paredit mode off when I'm in org mode, and it just, I don't know, I'm too lazy to turn it back on, which is that's bad of me. I shouldn't be like that. I should be better, but I'm not. Okay, so that is weird, but cool. I kind of like it. Let's change ASDF to only B and C, A and B. Let's not be that ridiculous there. Okay. So let's see what that looks like. That's cool. The twist through there is neat, but that wasn't actually what I intended. So let's turn the rotate off. Okay. Oh, no, turns out it is what I wanted. I just didn't rotate it enough. Huh. Poggers. It's pretty cool. I like how it looks. And so this is an example of where the fun can come in. If you're trying to make things look cool, right? There's no wrong answer to this rotation. I could do whatever I want, right? It just might like pinch. It might look totally different. Is Clojure lazy by default? Yes, it is. Yeah, you have to. Well, that's okay. Let me be a little more nuanced. It is basically lazy by default, but there's things like this. If I do list 1, 2, 3, this list is lazy by default, okay? But if I do this, vec 1, 2, 3, oops, vector, not vec. If this were a massive vector, like any vector is not lazy. It's evaluated all at once and plopped into memory. But a list like this is not. So if you have this function here, repeat, will create an infinite sequence of whatever you put in there. Unless you specify a stopping number, like if I want to repeat 20 times. But you can run repeat without a number and it will go infinitely. I believe this will stop eventually, but you can see it's infinite. So the only way to it should stop printing. The only way you can actually run an infinite sequence is if you have lazy implementations, right? Because it only realizes the part of the sequence as you need it. So you cannot run repeat blah into vec. You'll run out of memory. That was probably foolish of me, but things seem to be fine. There we go. We're back. We're back, baby. But yeah, most of the sequence stuff is all lazy by default. All right, I have to get going in 20 minutes at most. Maybe before then, I'm not sure yet, but we shall see. We shall see. Okay, so one thing to note, Clojure does do eager evaluation. All the collection operations produce lazy sequences. Okay, fair enough, yeah. Yeah, oh, I guess I should say, as a self-taught dev, my terminology might mix things up from time to time, so please don't take my word for it. If something sounds wrong or I didn't say it quite right, you can look up those things yourself. I'm trying to explain things to my own understanding, but yeah, so Nicholas is adding a little bit of nuance there, so thank you, Nick. Way past bedtime was just too interesting. Thanks for showcasing your work. Catch you later. Hey, Forrest, have a good night. Hopefully you sleep well. Thank you so much for engaging in the chat. That's always a lot of fun. I'm glad you enjoyed the stream. Maybe I'll see you around. No pressure, of course, but I would love it. That would be great. Have a good one. You heading out too, Nicholas? Thank you for joining in the chat and adding a little bit of context there. I appreciate that. Hopefully I'll see you around. Again, no pressure, but have a good one. Or were you just saying goodnight to Forrest? I don't know. Anyway. All right. Can I make this cool? Oh, good night to Forest. Oh, sorry, Nicholas. I'm not trying to like shoo you away. I just misunderstood. My bad. My bad. So, here's what's going through my head a little bit. Okay, so this blend stack function isn't true 3D. I mean, well, in a sense it is, but it's not like I'm not explicitly creating a 3D object and then rendering the 3D in a cool way. I'm creating two like 2D shapes and it's blending between them. But it like it's dependent. Its 3D shape is dependent on the definition. Pardon me, on what I put in as the parameters here, right? Like if I change the Z height, the shape itself changes. So what I'm thinking about is ways that I could start to combine this with the work I've done with OpenSCAD and SCAD CLJ to make legitimately 3D shapes and then render them into this sort of art program with this sort of stacked layer approach and other approaches, and just start to create general 3D renders with SVG and start to animate them. That's what's going through my head right now. I'm not gonna have time to do it today. I don't expect, but it is nevertheless quite cool. Now that I'm yammering on and on, though, I kinda... What would be cool? Ooh, I wonder if this will look good. It's okay. Let's do something like this. I don't know, that's a little boring, I think. What if I make this really small? Right, okay. So, if I rotate both of them by 45, does that look cool? Yeah, see, this is now like, I'm just thinking about the aesthetic of it, right? Does it look cool at that angle? Does it look cool at all? I mean, yes and no. It's debatable whether or not it's worth it, you know, stuff like that. But oh yeah, of course. So my fillet function, I don't have a check for validity. Be like if the shape itself is small, but the fillets you want to draw onto it are big, it will like invert itself and start making the shape larger again, which is fine-ish, but it does kind of break what you might expect to happen. So these fillets, for example, like if I bring those down to 2 again, yeah, I like that's pretty satisfying actually. So this makes me think of, I could like randomly generate a vase design, and then someone could, well, if I actually made it into an STL, someone could 3D print it, for example. That would be cool. But But, oh, this reminds me of, do I want to do that? Let me think. Let me see what this looks like without an ease function. It should just be like a linear, oops. I have to redef this now. Yeah, so that's another thing that maybe you want to expose as an option to the user, is the easing function that's used. So ease in out sine basically transitions the shape from one to another, not in a linear fashion, but using a sine wave. It literally comes from easing functions. I just implemented from the easing function cheat sheet. You go ease in out sine. If you click it, then you scroll to the bottom. The math function, this is written in TypeScript, but it's a super simple function. It's a function that takes in x some number, and it says right here, x represents the absolute progress of the animation in the bounds of 0 and 1 from the beginning to the end. So it fits exactly in with the approach I've been taking with all these other curves, which is pretty neat. Anyway, I like how it looks with the smooth blend like that. But, oh yeah, right. Gotta redef that. But it's not necessarily fully, I don't know what I'm saying. I have no idea what I'm getting at anymore. It's approaching that time where I should get going very soon. That's the truth of it. This is a total divergence from what I've been working on, but there's another set of artistic things that I was working on here with a tiling approach. So if I have a look at A, I think that's, oops, that's not what I meant to do. Is A, yeah. So this is I think it's pronounced Clojure. I'm a complete brick in terms of shapes and rendering. This looks like nuclear science to me. Well, I can promise you it's not nearly as crazy as it seems. So this, what I just rendered here, it's a 2D grid tiling system, right? And the cool thing about a lot of graphics and shapes is it's actually oftentimes very simple ideas that can lead to things that appear that are elegant or in some way complex, but the system itself is very regular. So this tiling, for example, since I just brought it up right now, if you look up the Wikipedia of this Clojure tiling, excuse me, Clojure tiles, super simple. Oops, that's not at all what I meant to do. It's a regular grid repeating or randomizing sets of tiles. And here, this quarter circles one is the kind of thing I started. You can see if you look here that it's got quarter circles in there, but it's also got lines and dots and stuff like that. So the whole thing I'm conveying here is you start with one simple idea, you make one slight modification on it, and you make another modification, and then you kind of build on from there and just see what happens. And then if you can throw in some random number generation to move things this way, move things that way, move things like this, random points in 2D space, you can end up with some fascinating results that you kind of designed the process, but the outcome is unexpected in some way, even if it is a little bit regular, which is exactly like all of the shape here. It's just generated random points and then and moving stuff around from there. So it looks cool, and I'm super happy with it. I'm not saying it's trivial. I am saying, you know what? I do think a lot of people could do this stuff with the right approach to it. But to be fair, I love this. It's so fun to do. So I spend time figuring it out on my own anyway. So let's turn off one section like that and re-show that. Anyway, so what I was going to bring up right before, I have to go soon. It's always a shame when people are still tuned in and watching. I always want to keep the ball rolling a little bit, but I do have my real life to to live, as it were. I'm kind of thinking it'd be fun to take a Clojure tiling and do some isometric transformation so that I can make this sort of pseudo 3D Clojure tile system, right? Like, why limit myself to tiling, creating tile designs in 2 dimensions, right? What if I could have a 2D shape, turn it isometric, and kind of extrude it vertically a certain amount, and then put kind of ramps up and down to the next thing. So I've got this sort of third dimension element to it. That's the thought going through my head here, and I'm trying to think if that would be fun to do. I think the answer is yes, it would be really cool, but I'll have to explore that. Just got to explore, Oh yeah, and by the way, this I'll prove that it's just the Clojure tile system. If I comment out all the other tile sets and run that, I'll render this basic idea. There you go. Let me shrink the grid size here a little bit, though. It's not going to look great, but it'll look fine. That's cool, right? I think it's pretty sweet. There's an even easier line. Is it line tile? Yeah, line dash tile. Oh man. So do you see, here's what I really like about using randomness to make some generative stuff is, like, it's quite easy to make a single line change or just add stuff to a list. If you're randomly pulling from the list, if you add things into the list, you can vary what comes out, right? It's just very simple stuff, but it ends up looking really neat. Is this a complete piece on its own? I would say no, but it's a really nice starting point. Like, let me make this a bit bigger again. 20 probably. Let's bring this down to 16. Yeah. Hey, good to see you, C Films. You caught me right near the end. I'm about to head out, but glad to see and hear that you're doing well. Right, so let me finish this thought for a minute here. I wouldn't call this finished on its own, right? But I would say this gives me the idea of trying to come up with a way to merge these straight line segments and then maybe coloring them differently or deleting them or something like that, right? And these long curve segments, like you can take them and transform them further in some way. So you create your initial grid, then you create some regrouping method, and you can go from there. Oh man, all these things they've got my head turning on that stuff. And then another thing is you could layer grids. You could have a grid that's half the size and has different shapes entirely and a different color, and you could add like I said, isometric transformation to all that stuff. There's so many neat little things you can do with it all. But all of that is going to have to be something for another day, because I do have to get going. I would like to thank everyone who's tuned in. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun to have that raid a while ago. Thanks, TJ, for the raid. They're probably not here anymore, but yeah, thanks everyone for sticking around. Thanks for chatting. I love showing and talking about what I'm working on. It's always great. I really appreciate that. Good luck. Thanks, Nicholas. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, that's all I got to say, honestly. I truly hope everyone has a good day, evening, a good next morning, all that good stuff. I hope your projects go well. I hope you're happy and healthy as much as that's possible. And enough sappiness. Thanks, everyone. I will be streaming again tomorrow, so if anyone liked what they saw and they want to be back for more, I will be on again tomorrow. Probably working on similar stuff. Maybe getting into some 3D design again with some Clojure as well. But we'll just see what comes my way. In the meantime, I got exercise to do, all that good stuff. All right. I'm on my way, everyone. Have a good one. I'll see you later.